nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
Welcome back to the channel. I've been gone because I need long breaks away from social media because it's getting sicker and sicker in this world, and having to watch the Carmelo case and the Rick Chow case with the murder of Cyrus, I've been out of commission. I've been every emotion, every type of pissed off, and every type of where's the edge of the world so I can jump off that bitch, or I need an island by myself, or just let the asteroid hit this bitch and destroy it. But 17-year-old Melo was at a track meet with other schools in the district. He arrived early at the track meet before his tent, and the second bus came. He ended up being called up to the Memorial High School tent. Melo, from Centennial High School in Fresco, Texas, went to speak with a friend whom he dapped up. If you don't know what that is, go look at a YouTube video, and asked to sit down. Eddie said he could, and they were talking. It's alleged that Carmelo said the football team was ass, and we know the twins were on the team. Hunter and Austin were the twin sons of Jeff and Megan Metcalf, now divorced, and Jeff Metcalf was accused of abuse. Call it Gen Z language. You're an idiot and a clown if you actually think that someone wants you to touch them or touch them again. Saying that means don't touch me. This is a warning that if you continue to do something that I don't want you to do, there will be consequences. Keep your hands to yourself. Keep your paws to yourself. Everybody has had that said by their parents. Like, and there's a lady, she spells it out. I'll show her.
People had testified that Carmelo Anthony had told Austin Metcalf, "Put your hands on me and see what happens." This falls under the category of prompting the other party to use force.
Listen, I'm not going to argue the legalities of the Carmelo Anthony case because I'm not a lawyer, okay? What I am going to do in this video, though, is discuss something I call cultural incompetency, okay? Specifically within language. Now, I'm going to give you guys a couple of examples, and feel free to participate in the comments, okay? I'm going to give you guys a couple of examples, see if you can answer before me, all right? I see my child jumping on the couch, and I turn and I say, jump on that couch one more time. Do I want my child to keep jumping on the couch? I want them to jump one more time? No. No, I don't. Okay. If I see my child and they do something and I say, do it again. Do I want my child to do it again? No, I want my child to not. Okay. If I say, I wish a motherfucker would. Do I want a motherfucker to? No, boo. I want a motherfucker to not. If I'm looking outside, somebody get real close to my car and I say, I wish they would hit my car. I wish this nigga would. Do I want them to hit my car? No. I want them to not. All right. Another one. I'm in the store with my child. We don't already had the conversation outside. I said, when we come in here, don't touch nothing, okay? Okay, she understand. We in there. She touched something. I guess she forgot. She done forgot what we said in the parking lot. She goes, she touched a thing. I look at her and I say, touch one more thing. Do I want her to touch another thing? No. And she looking at me like, no, of course I'm not gonna touch it. No. She gonna look at me and say, oh, she don't want me to touch nothing. She's clearly saying, do not touch another thing. Last one for the road, okay? If I say, Try me. Try me. Do I want you to try me? No, I want you to not try. I want you to not try. Whatever it is you thought you was about to try, I want you to not try. That means do not try. Do not try. That is a stop. That is a stop statement. That is a do not do this thing. It is not a provocation for you to do it. If you don't understand that, I'm going to give you a courtroom example, and maybe you can. There's a defendant. The defendant is Spanish. The entire jury, the jury can only speak Mandarin and Dutch, by the way, okay? Dutch and Mandarin, but don't understand Spanish. The defendant is sitting over there, and what's being discussed in the courtroom right now is the defendant saying, dame cabeza. And it is being described as violent. Violent requests for a skull, for a cranium. He wants somebody hit off. Okay, that's how it's being described in the courtroom. And it's being described as the defendant is actually violent and psychotic, a serial killer. Because how would they ask for a head? Okay, and the cultural incompetency within that courtroom of the language, the cross-cultural language, the intercultural language actually between the African American community, the Spanish community, and the Afro-Latina community, and understanding that dame cabeza means gimme fellatio or conolingus hoes. But everybody in the courtroom who does not take the time, who never took the time to get culturally competent, who can only speak and understand Dutch and Mandarin, are not making decisions on a language model that they don't fucking understand. And it's been utilized as violent, or in this situation that we just heard, a provocation, when actually it was a demand to not do the fucking thing. It was a stop. That is a stop statement. That is a getaway statement. That is a don't come here. That is a leave me alone statement. That is a stop. No, don't, do not statement. That is not being utilized as a provocation to actually want the fucking thing to happen. Cultural incompetency, cultural illiteracy is what this example displays, and how frustrating it is to come from communities who have to deal with a legal justice system, a whole system actually that refuses to even consider those things, but will take the time to put Spanish, Mandarin, German, Dutch, Latin, French in school to teach, but will fucking fight tooth and nail if anybody ever mentions AAE, African American English, AAVE, African American Vernacular English, whatever y'all decide. I hope this was educational and enlightening. And if you want to participate in the comments or think of any others to help these illiterate ass motherfuckers, okay, within the way that we speak, please feel free. And I will leave it at that. Like I said, I'm not talking about the legalities of the case because I'm not a lawyer, babe. But I didn't know there was so many fucking attorneys. I didn't know all these people had JDs. I didn't know, okay? Bye, babe.
But that wasn't an utterance to welcome violence. That was something, it's even in a joke. If you know who Cedric the Entertainer is, he literally did the joke when he did the Kings of Comedy, and I think people were coming in, and then he made the joke of, I know they were like, I wish somebody would be in my seat, which it doesn't mean that you actually wish somebody. It's actually you don't want somebody in the seat, but you know how people can be, and somebody could end up doing that, taking your seat. But you saying you wish you would mean they better not be. Now, he warned Austin several times to leave him alone, and Austin, in all his leadership, threatened to drag Melo's bitch ass out the tent. I guess that's the language he used as he gingerly tried to get him up and out the tent, right. Austin touched Melo's property. He grabbed his book bag, which that's theft. You don't have the right to touch my purse. You don't have the right to touch anybody's property or belongings. That's theft. He put his hands on Melo and assaulted Melo. So yeah, that's assault. When you're grabbing someone, hitting someone, is a crime. You're a criminal. Melo reached into his bag and pulled a tool. They called it a tool because it was 3.3 inches, like a Swiss Army tool. If you remember, every boy had one of those. The legal size of a knife that you can legally carry is 5.5 and less. It was less. By any standard, it wasn't even a blade, so that's why they called it a tool. And the police officer got up on the stand and said as much. Those talking about why bring a knife to a track meet, he had more than just that in his book bag. That was included. Also, I took one to school. I had a blade. Stayed in the backpack because I was a girl walking to and from school. And with Tim Tebow out here screaming and crying about all of the SA that's going on in the community, I don't think you have to wonder why. And with all of the school shootings, that's a dumbass question to ask. It's not illegal under Texas law. School policy is not law. Learn the difference. Because we have seen so many instances of school shootings like Sandy Hook and many others where little Nathan gets mad on a Tuesday because somebody fucked up the edges of his grilled cheese sandwich, and he went to the school and he shot everybody up. Just like this fake ass Asian hate bullshit that they're trying to level against black people. Jonathan was mad on a Wednesday and he went into the Asian massage shop and he shot everybody up. That's their MO. Melo thrust the tool once and it landed in the middle of the chest of Austin Metcalf. He pierced the heart sac and Metcalf died. Austin did. Melo ran and Hunter was going to run too, because there was this, I don't know who said this, that Austin was stabbed and he fell back into his brother's arm and his brother was crying and holding. That never fucking happened. Whoever said that was lying. He was going to chase Melo, but he stopped. Hunter stopped, but two other people chased Melo. So Melo ran and there was a cop. He asked if Austin was okay. He said he was the one who actually did stab him and he was visibly distraught. So he did take accountability and he told him, I told him not to touch me, which he was assaulted. There are claims that there was bruising on Melo's face and neck. The jury was an all-white jury and they convicted a kid that never had been in trouble to 35 years and murder. In Texas, the devil's ass crack, capital murder, Penal Code 1903, Texas' most serious homicide charge, equivalent to what other states would call first-degree murder in Texas. And they do the death penalty there. There is no first degree, second degree, third degree. It's just murder. And murder is a first-degree felony in Texas. There's manslaughter, which is 1904. A second-degree felony involving reckless cause of death, which can be voluntary or involuntary. This has nothing to... This doesn't even amount to manslaughter because, again, he was assaulted and that was caused by Austin. And Melo had reasonable fears and protected himself. Criminally negligent homicide is 1905. A state jail felony involving death caused by criminal negligence, and Melo did not cause any criminal negligence. If that was anyone, that was Austin. Trying to remove someone he had no authority to move. And doing this on bleachers while it was raining. Now it says here, a person commits an offense if the person intentionally or knows, and this is for murder, knowingly caused the death of an individual, intent to cause serious bodily injury, and commit a clear, dangerous act to human life that causes death of an individual, commits or attempts to commit a felony other than manslaughter, and in the course of and in furtherance of the commission or attempt, or an immediate flight from the commission or attempt, the person commits an attempt to it's a clear act of danger to human life that causes death. And then the other is about controlled substances, and that applies to the Carmelo situation. Now, the defense attorney called out Eddie for lying about not knowing Melo, the same one that dapped him up. He basically tried to say that the only reason he knew of Carmelo was because of the ex-girlfriend Carmelo was with. He was cool with her, but they had pictures of them warming up for track, and he had invited him over for dinner, something about a grandparent, but it was apparent that he was in communication with him, texting him, doing all that stuff, and the girlfriend wasn't a part of it. Now, the defense attorney only called Melo's mother, which baffles me as to why he didn't put Melo on the stand, and also brought some character witnesses. There was a lot of information about these boys being bullies, being violent. He had over a year to prepare, and the all-white jury convicted him of murder in 3 hours and sentenced him in 2. They had him on a bus to prison within days. This is the fastest conviction I've ever seen in my life. This brings to mind several colorless males that got off on stand your ground or self-defense. Daniel Penny took the life of Jordan Neely, a homeless man with mental illness that threatened to take his own life on a subway. He screamed he was hungry, tired, and thirsty. What did these good Christian folks do in the name of Jesus? Nothing. They backed his killer, whom Daniel Penny strangled Neely to death. This man was yelling. This man didn't threaten anyone. He didn't put his hands on anyone. And Penny got away with it. George Zimmerman, the man that followed Trayvon Martin, a teen that had Skittles and iced tea, if you remember the Trayvoning challenge, where kids and adults would lay on the floor with Skittles and iced tea laying around them. Zimmerman followed and scared Trayvon. He claimed he was beaten up by Trayvon, but Trayvon ended up dead. Zimmerman sold the gun for $250,000. He was praised for taking the life of a black teen. Kyle Rittenhouse. He was 17 years old and got a AK-15. He literally got up out of bed, left his parents' house like he was grown, and he took the AK-15 and he drove to the protest. He drove out of town to the protest with the gun, and when people saw him with the gun, they tried to take the gun from him. He shot 2 people and wounded 1. He was acquitted on self-defense ground with that fake ass crime, if you remember, he was trying to muster up some tears. But yeah, they acquitted him, even though he, at 17 years old, left his parents' house, took a semi-automatic weapon, and took people's lives. And people were saying, oh, the people were whooping his ass. And you said Carmelo should have squared up. Rittenhouse should have squared up, right? But we know why you say what you say. But Cason Allison. Allison was accused of stabbing Joe Ramirez to death in a bathroom of Belton High School in 2022. He faces up to 6 months to 2 years in a state jail facility. Must be nice. 6 months at the least, 2 at the most. Wow. The jury had found Allison not guilty of murder or manslaughter, but guilty of criminally negligent homicide. Cason Allison was sentenced to 10 years, in which he might only have to do 5. And I say might, he could be out earlier than that. He said that he only stabbed the victim once, but the victim was stabbed multiple times in the chest, back, legs, and arm. After the autopsy was done, they saw this. So he basically lied, but he still got off with 5 years or less. The way I see it, many people have never been in a 2v1 situation, and nobody has ever been in a dangerous situation where you had to make a split decision in case somebody was on demon time. But me personally, I have been in that 2v1 situation where a girl, she was a bully. She was talking shit. She put her hands on me. We start fighting, and her big ass cousin, who was hiding around the other way of the building, came up behind me. So 2-on-1. And if you think that Hunter was going to just stand there and do nothing, you want some bullshit. The second dangerous situation, I was 17 years old. 17 is popping up a lot, but I worked at a grocery store. A colorless woman was the supervisor, colorless man the manager, and I had set hours because I took the bus. The bus there ran every 15 minutes like clockwork, but I did not like to be out at night when it was evening. So that's why I set my hours the way I did. Now this bitch, yeah, this colorless bitch, she decided to have me work late into the night. Didn't give a fuck. Didn't, just put it on there. And I had to stay because the manager wasn't there. She wasn't there. So I went ahead and stayed. This guy, he was like 6 foot something, 6'2", a big guy. No one was going to mess with him. So he decided to walk me to the bus stop, because previously I had an encounter with a man that popped out of nowhere and said, did I want to go around the corner and fuck? I'm like, the look on my face made him take off running and left me alone. But he waited for the bus. I got on the bus. I'm like, I'm home free. Nobody's on this bus. Nobody else was picked up when I got dropped off at the bus stop near where I lived. Now, I was dropped off underneath a street light. You go straight to get the apartment complexes that I lived in, and there were no other lights there. And I start walking. I can make it home. Nobody's behind me. I look behind me. Some dude popped out of nowhere. So now I'm nervous. I have my hand in my bag looking for my blade. It's not there. Just to have it and see, I'm like, Carmela, I would have had it locked. But on one, like I said, there's no street lights. It's dark. On one side is open field, large open field. On the other side is these big bushy trees, huge bushes, just foliage everywhere. And if dude was on demon time, there was nothing that I would have been able to do. So basically, I took the keys that I had and put them between my fingers. So if he tried something, I'll have your DNA. I'm going to fight back, whatever. So I slowed down, let him speed up, because I think he knew I did not like him up behind me. So he walked forward real fast, and I kept the keys in my hand till I made it to the door. People have never experienced that shit. So that's why they talk the way they talk about Trayvon Martin and somebody bigger than you following you, like Zimmerman. And then they talk about this situation where they have these dreams in their head that they're 5'6" and they're going to take down 6'1", 220-pound dudes because they're that fucking tough. Idiots. And you're going to fight with your hands. You're going to box it out with 2 dudes way taller than you, damn near 100 pounds on you. Carmelo was justified in his self-defense claim against someone aggressively trying to move you. That is what we call assault. Austin was said to be suspended. He was told by his coach to be a good leader. Instead, he chose to be a thug and a bully. He wasn't placed as the protector of the tent. No, he was just told to step up and prove himself as to being a better person, but we all know that wasn't what he was. If it was so important that no one from a different school be under the tent, he would have led his ass and his punk ass brother to a coach or an adult to handle this situation. He knew the adult that he would talk to wouldn't kick Melo out of the tent, so he decided, in his words, to move Melo's bitch ass from under the tent. Now, there will be an appeal, and I hope the family can get proper representation. I've had a hard time with this one. I understand that I reside in the belly of the beast, the United States, and Texas is the devil's sphincter. I think about him every day and will do whatever is in my power that I can to help. He didn't deserve this at all. He's never been in trouble. He doesn't have a record. He's never done anything. He's a good kid, and he was assaulted. And if this country is going to tell me that if I'm assaulted, I can't defend myself, I'll make sure I'll take one of you with me if I am ever put in that position. This was not a jury of his peers. The prosecutor struck every black person they had, and there was an all-white jury. The judge and the prosecutor have sexual assault charges pending against them, but they were presiding over this case, which is absolute foolery. There was a photo and accusations of the judge, prosecutor, and Jeff Metcalf all knew each other. In a small town, they do know each other. I state this because I heard it when I was in middle school. The parents knew the principal and invited them to dinner. So one person can know one person. All of them have a few degrees of separation. That's the way they behave. I can believe it. So I personally, in a situation, went into the courtroom for someone. I was just sitting there and their case was up next. And I saw with my own eyes a prosecutor speaking with a defense attorney to get the person to admit that they did this because they didn't have any evidence of this person committing that crime. So they wanted the person to sign something and to say that they did it, working together. There are a lot of pets, Nick Sales and Nick Geddes, on social media making money off this child's life, grifting conservative, tap dancing MAGAs, sick-minded rocket raccoons. The Metcalf family showed no mercy, and we should always keep that same energy. The so-called friend, Eddie, had his phone up like he was recording, and the police took his phone, but they never found a video. No video popped up. So, in my opinion, this could have been a setup that didn't end the way they thought it would to jump Carmelo. But my question is, where's the video? Was it deleted? What happened? This just disgusts me. And I think it was the same sentiments for a majority of us who understand this country, understand the judicial system, because we have a 34-time felonious PDF file who is presiding as the president of the country. He is protecting his wealthy friends from their names coming out, and now you have a slew of colorless men who didn't have to do jail time, or they did very little. I even throw Brock Turner. I always throw him in there. I will always and forever talk about Brock Turner's ass because it shows how much they do not care about white lives. They scream white lives matter, all lives matter, but they don't give a fuck about that. They just have this bloodlust and they get a hit of dopamine every time they see a black person suffer or injustice happens. It excites them. They basically railroaded Carmelo. The sentencing usually takes a while. The deliberations to look over everything takes a while, but they basically did what their forefathers fought for them to do. They're no different. They're the same. There's been no progression. They want to go back to when it was great again, and you know what was going on then. They have too many rocket raccoons from the black community and a lot of adjacents like Asians and Indians and Hispanics who is standing on. They want to put white on their driver's license, and then you have your run-of-the-mill ignorant ass, no family tree, having a family wreath ass, backwood hillbilly racist. And then you have your more sophisticated ones that know to keep their fucking mouth shut. But I will go ahead and end it right here. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.